Shut up! It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
And welcome to the movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
In your face.
That's right. I figured out how to get it without trying to share a screen and everything. So I'm loving this program now.
Nice.
Guys,
Almost
how you
kind
doing?
of a professional gimmick going on.
It's getting there. Yes, it is getting there. How are you guys doing tonight?
I am good.
I'm
Yeah.
doing fine.
You doing fine?
Yep.
Have you guys been keeping up with the judging going on for the festival? Have you guys? James mentioned he wanted to watch a couple.
I've been lax in my duties. I'll admit it.
I watched 5 or 6, and I ranked them.
Very nice. Just found out. I just went upstairs. We actually have a music video that came in from Slovenia. Slovenia.
Mm.
Slovenia. Somewhere. It's over there. So
Okay.
we are definitely living up to the international part of Chatham.
I'll get back on the horse. Don't worry. I'll chew through it.
That's not our topic tonight anyway.
No.
Our topic tonight is vampire movies. Is that squirrel movies or vampire movies? Because you had them really close together.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing a Tusk reference.
Oh, there you go. I'll be waiting for you for that one, Jason. All right. Well, let's just jump into it then. Jason, what's your number 10?
You know this list is going to get interesting and probably repetitive. So, my number 10.
Are you doing the honorable mentions? Or
you want me to do the honorable mentions first? Okay.
yeah.
Do you want to do first or before number 1?
Oh, I've seen videos do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll save the honorable mention. All right. So my number 10 is from 1992. It's called Innocent Blood. I remember watching it numerous times. It's been a long time since I watched it. It stars an actress named Anne Parlow, I believe is her last name. Yeah. I haven't seen her in much of anything else. Also had Anthony LaPaglia and Robert Loggia.
Yeah.
She's a vampire, and she screws up when feeding on Robert Loggia's character, who's a mob boss. And she doesn't finish him off, so he becomes a vampire.
Don Rickles is also in this.
Is he really? I don't remember Don Rickles.
Yeah, he gets accidentally turned and accidentally burned. Like I think he's in a hospital bed, and they open up the shades or something, and he burns up.
Oh yes, I forgot about that scene. Yeah, that movie, to me, it really stood out just because it's like one lone vampire and she screws up. She doesn't finish her feeding or whatever. And a mob boss gets the abilities, and he starts making a whole mob of vampires. And yeah, it's a fun movie. So I put it as my number 10.
I think that there's a good... John Landis directed that one. I was thinking, I thought it was Sam Raimi for a second, but I'm like, there's a reason why it's fun.
Yeah, it was John Landis.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I have seen that. I recognize the cover now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Anne Perriot, I believe she was from the original La Femme Nikita.
That's right. That's why I watched it, is because of her. That's right. But I've never seen her in anything else besides those two things.
I think you've seen her in one other thing. I believe she was in Man in the Iron Mask.
I never actually watched that movie.
Oh, that movie's great.
James Taylor, you're the Karate Kid of movie knowledge.
Oh, Greg, you embarrassed me.
I absolutely love that.
Thank you, Greg.
I find it funny that every week Greg pops up and he's James's biggest groupie.
Right? Oh, we love the intro. That's cool.
I love the intro too. I actually saw it this time.
Nice. And we actually got to see it without me trying to hit play and then the bar across the bottom, and it was just in all its glory.
It went smooth. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so James, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is John Carpenter's Vampires.
Really?
I remember watching this one a few times in the theater. I had so much fun with this. James Woods, Daniel Baldwin, chick from Twin Peaks.
Yeah, that's a real name.
I can't think of the vampire guy's name. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Thomas Ian Griffith.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of his. Yeah, he was Valak in that one. And I had so much fun with this movie. And then I went and read the book. The movie was basically, let's take the title and the names of the characters, and that's about it.
Yep.
I
read the book too.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's a great movie, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, that movie's on my list too. It's up higher. So,
Don't
leave us hanging.
It's what?
You're breaking up. You froze.
You froze up for a second, buddy.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Yeah. James Woods, Daniel Baldwin. Let me just get her name right.
Is it Cheryl?
It is Cheryl Lee.
Cheryl Lee. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thomas Ian Griffith, Cary Hiroyuki Tanada, Mark Boone Jr. from Sons of Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
And Maximilian Schell. And a few other people. Yeah, so that's my number 10, John Carpenter's Vampires. I believe the second last movie he did, or third last. Because he did. His last one was The Ward, and his second last was either Vampires or Ghosts of Mars.
Oh, yeah, Ghost of Mars. I think that came before this one, honestly.
Ghost of Mars? No, Ghost of Mars came later.
It came three years after, apparently. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I remember Ghost of Mars mostly for that being one of the first times I ever saw Jason Statham.
That was an early movie of his, yeah.
Michael says, "I love John Carpenter's Vampires." I'm a John Carpenter fan. Period. So,
he's another director that definitely has a style of his own. He uses similar music in a lot of his films, especially like the horror and whatnot types of films.
Yeah, he used to do his music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So he's got a particular style, and it really comes across in Vampires. I just like the concept of the James Woods character. So, like as I said, it's higher on my list. It's where is it here? That's actually my number 4.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's been a little while since I've visited it, but I watched it so many times when it came out. It's one that I watched fairly repetitively for like a month. So
it's one I've been waiting for forever for it to come out on Blu-ray.
It isn't yet?
As far as I know, I've never seen it anywhere.
That's surprising.
That's very surprising because it's a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think there'd be like a whole Carpenter collection kind of thing out there now.
Almost every director has that one movie that's never been released on Blu-ray. Like Christopher Nolan has The Following. Robert Rodriguez, I believe, The Faculty.
Michael says it's out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and it is John Carpenter's Vampires Special Edition new Blu-ray.
Is it Shout Factory or Scream Factory? Did they do one of those?
Let me take a look. Let's see. I got to do it this way. There and there. This is on eBay. Indicator.
What is that? I wonder where that's available.
Let's read down here. Where is that here? Holy jeez, where's the description? There's no description.
Sounds shady.
Sold by Blow It Outta Here.
What the hell?
That's the vendor. That's the vendor name. So yeah, it doesn't give you any details as to who actually made it, who distributed it.
Here we go. Michael's got a lot here. Let me stop this sharing. Shout Factory released an excellent special edition last year. I own it. Yep. Not so that. Scream Factory.
So it is Scream.
Well, UK-based company. There we go.
Shout Factory, Scream Factory. It's the same thing. They do Scream Factory for when it's a horror movie.
Oh, I didn't realize there were two different things.
Well, they're not really. It's just two different names sometimes. Because I had the Scream Factory release of Prince of Darkness.
Another good John Carpenter movie.
I would dispute that, but
You usually do. All right, my number 10.
it is. There it is. Yeah.
You found
Scream
it?
Factory on Amazon, $36.60. Wow. I like the movie a lot. I'd have to think about that. All right, sorry.
Ooh.
Your number 10, Rob.
Michael says it's a must-own, fully loaded disc.
Oh yeah, because the DVD has like the commentary and that's it.
Yep. I got to admit, that's one of the reasons I love physical media is for all those extras. The gag reels, the behind the scenes, the document or the audio commentaries, those kind of things.
Yes.
My number 10 stars Ethan Hawke.
Oh.
And it's from 2009, set in the future of 2019.
I know what this is.
When a plague has transformed almost every human into vampires, called Daybreakers. I love this film just because of the way they adapt technology to help them. Like they drive cars around during the day because it's all boxed in and they go by video screen. And, I love all the stuff that happened in here.
And Willem Dafoe is a badass.
Yes. Well, he usually is no matter what he's in.
That's true.
I remember that movie coming out. I don't think I ever watched it.
This is on my list as well.
Oh, and see, Michael agrees too. Good pick. Daybreakers is a good one.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. If you get a chance to watch, it's good.
Yeah,
it's got a 6.4 on IMDb, so that's not bad.
Okay,
it's a very well shot, very well shot movie, and you get such great actors in it. It's hard to go wrong.
I think one of the reasons why I never watched it now that I think about it, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe the timing's all off, but for some reason I was thinking it and putting it in the same kind of look as that Ultraviolet.
It was,
and I did not care for Ultraviolet at all.
Oh yeah, not remotely similar to Ultraviolet.
I think the trailers and whatnot just had it, gave it a similar look, and that turned me off.
Ultraviolet is not a terrible movie. It's a cool looking movie. It just doesn't make hardly any sense. But I don't... yeah.
What?
I have actually never seen it, so I can't comment.
Okay.
Back on topic.
But Daybreakers, Ethan Hawke.
Sam Neill.
Michael says shitty flick, Ultraviolet. So I will not be adding that one to my watch list.
You could do worse, but if you like watching Mila Jovovich kick a bunch of ass in like a tight outfit like she does in Resident Evil, you could do worse.
It's back on my list.
If this means anything, and it might not, it's directed by the same guy who did Equilibrium, but don't try and hold it up to that standard.
Okay. Believe it or not, that makes sense.
Studio interference, whatnot, whatever.
Gotcha. Jason, number 9.
Number 9, also from 1992, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Oldman doing his rendition, his take on Dracula was just phenomenal. And I really felt that movie, like Keanu Reeves, a weaker performance from Keanu Reeves. But I had not long, actually right around when that movie came out, I had read the original novel for the first time. So it was fresh. And I really felt that they did a good transition from book to film. Like that's one of the best renditions of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
The classic tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not one of my more well-liked vampire movies, but Gary Oldman, you really can't touch him in hardly anything.
No,
no,
not
exactly.
at all.
And
exactly.
it has my favorite to this day. One of my favorite Annie Lennox songs, "Love Song for a Vampire."
I love that song too. I just recently looked for that video on YouTube not long ago.
It's a kind of creepy video.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, we lost him. Oh,
Yep,
no,
that's
no. My hand caught my earphone cord. I'm good.
I might have to revisit that one again. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and I love Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
there's a few on my list that I have not watched in a long time, and I'm kind of thinking I'm going to have to revisit.
Same here.
I think I might have a Gary Oldman night with True Romance, Air Force One.
Drexel.
Yep, exactly.
But you can't mention Gary Oldman without bringing up Drexel. You just can't.
Exactly.
It's kind of his, like, I think it's arguably considered his best role, like
He thinks it's white boy.
at least most popular role.
But very underrated. Like, not a lot of people knew he was in that film.
Uh-huh.
Motherfucker
Now-
think he's Charlie Bronson. Sorry.
Yeah, I know I'm pretty, but oh man, I could
So
quote that
good.
ever. All right, James, number 9.
Number 9. One of the greatest soundtracks for a movie from the 80s ever. And probably one of the greatest soundtracks for a movie, period. The Lost Boys.
There we go.
That's much higher on my list.
That's
I
much
know,
higher on my list.
I tried, but when I was putting up with some of the other vampire movies I have, I'm like, if this was just an 80s list, it would be much higher. But yeah, Joel Schumacher, to this day, one of Kiefer Sutherland's most well-known roles.
Yeah.
And it being one of his first, not his first. Jason Patrick,
At the Corey.
Jamie
The Coreys,
Gertz,
yeah.
the Coreys, Jamie Gertz.
See, I don't think that film would be the film without Corey Haim. You know, everybody was good,
no.
but
Yeah.
him, that younger brother, just sealed it.
And say what you will about the 2 sequels, I still appreciate those. But this movie, and especially the big muscle bound, I can't remember his name, the saxophone player. I still love that song. I still believe.
Yep.
So good.
I think it was last year, one of the conventions here in London, Shockstock. They brought him in.
Oh,
Yep.
I've seen YouTube videos of him at conventions.
Yep.
He can still do it.
Yep. But yeah, that film, and it's got what's his name, Winter.
Alex Winter.
Alex
Yeah.
Winter. There we go. Yep. Like, there's a lot of good people in there.
And I don't remember the head vampire's name. I can't remember his name, but he always played the stereotypical goody dad.
Yeah, I can never remember the actor's name either, but you're right. He was known for being the white bread dad. Like,
And Diane Wiest, the mother.
Yes.
I remember that.
Let me see. I'm looking it up right now.
that's a big spoiler for us to say he's the bad guy.
Oh,
Oh,
wait,
come
that's for
on.
you.
It's
That's
from
a
the
huge
80s.
spoiler.
7, dude. I think we're safe for spoilers.
Yeah.
Edward Herman. That's it.
Thank you, Edward Herman.
But now, see, there is even one more guy who steals it, even more than Corey.
Oh, Bernard Hughes.
Bernard
Grandpa.
Hughes, the grandpa.
One
At
thing
the
I
end, the end of the movie, when he says, the other thing I don't like around here is all the vampires.
all the damn vampires.
Vampires, yes. Now that's a quotable line.
I'll tell you something. If all the bodies buried here all were to stand up all at once, we'd have one hell of a population problem.
Oh man, he had some great lines. He goes, "Don't touch the TV guide." Wait, you got a TV? No, got a TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Second shelf is where I keep my root beer and my double stuffed Oreos. No one touches the second shelf but me.
Yep. Got a sign, old fart shelf or old fart stuff right on the sign.
Yeah, you're right. It probably should be higher, but it was too much of a good thing here.
Oh man. Well, mine is actually a different country. 2008. They did an American remake, which made one of my honorable mentions.
Oh,
But
I know what this is.
Let the Right One In.
That one is on my list as well.
I saw the remake and I really liked it. So I went back and watched the original, and now I like the remake, but this one just blows it out of the water.
I almost had both on my list, and I'm just like, Matt Reeves did a very good remake, but I fell in love with the original first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched either one of them.
Oh.
It's about a bullied boy that kind of falls for this girl that he meets in their park, like the park around the apartment building, and she ends up helping him, unbeknownst to him.
There's one very interesting thing that they did. I mean, like the original I heard was pretty faithful to the novel, but there was a thing he did in maybe we shouldn't say if Jason needs to watch this.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah?
Don't worry about it.
Because you have in the remake, it's Chloe Grace Moretz playing she's not so young, but she's a little girl and she's a vampire. And like the kid is starting to really like her, and he's like, we can't be friends. I'm not a little girl. I'm not a girl. And in the remake, she's obviously meaning like, I'm a vampire. I'm not human anymore. I'm not a girl. In the original, it's because she keeps saying, it's played by a girl. She keeps saying, I'm not a girl. It's because they stay truthful to the book. She's not actually a girl. She was a young boy. She was castrated and through a ritual turned into a vampire. So when she says, I'm not a girl, she's really not a girl. Mm-hmm. But the way they had an interesting way to translate that to the remake that still works.
And it's actually cool because it's the first time you get to introduce to the guy who plays Nightcrawler in the later X-Men films.
Cody Scott McPhee, yeah.
Yep. And a very early role for him. And Elias Koteas. I absolutely adore Elias Koteas. You know, ever since Kind of Wonderful, I just adore his acting.
Did you ever see Exotica?
No.
No? Really, an early Adam McGoyan film. One like a ton of genies.
I remember that movie. I do remember that movie. Vaguely. It got a lot of hype on the movie network back
Mia Kirshner, Elias Koteas, and Bruce Greenwood were the three main stars of that one.
Exotica.
Yeah, it dealt with like mind altering stuff.
Nope.
Like no.
No. It was a stripper.
I think I must be mixing it up with something else.
Two men that love the same exotic dancer.
Okay.
A man plagued by neuroses frequents the club Exotica in an attempt to find solace, but even there, his past is never far away. You have to read it like that, otherwise it's boring.
In a world.
Sarah Pauli's in it.
Is she? It's been a long time since I watched it. So she'd be little.
1994, no doubt. Okay, back to you, Jason. Number 8.
Number 8, 1985, the original Fright Night.
Oh, I have to admit, I forgot about that film.
I have not watched the Colin Farrell remake because the original is good enough. Like I didn't need an update of that. The original was just with Chris Sarandon. You know, he was just such the great average, young man in so many films in that era, and I just liked how everything got put together. You had the corniness with his friend, who you'll find out is alive at the end and all that stuff. And it was just the right amount of the creepiness, and it was just so well put together.
I finally watched it a couple of years ago, and I thought it was pretty good.
But see, that's just it, though. You got to watch the remakes because then you never know. You'll get the remake that you deserve, like in Annie and stuff like that.
I will say it took me forever to find that DVD.
Hey, stop.
Ow.
Okay, maybe I just...
It's my only weapon. It worked.
Yeah.
I deserve that one. That was malicious.
That was just mean.
Yeah, maybe it was a little. James, what's your number 8?
My number 8, and this one was around the time it came out. This was when I used to change my favorite movie every once in a while. This was it for a time. Neil Jordan's Interview with the Vampire.
Very good.
Still a great movie. with
I
just
I knew somebody was going to bring it up. I knew it.
It's higher on my list.
I hate that movie.
really why?
I found it so incredibly boring.
Wow. When
You
did you first see it?
When it first came out.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I flipped over this movie.
I found it so incredibly boring. Queen of the Damned, the Stuart Townsend sequel, was slightly better,
I do
But-
like that one. That one's got another awesome soundtrack.
but Stuart Townsend still, like, I think I did read Interview with a Vampire, the book, and the book to me was better. But Stuart Townsend just didn't have it right even in Queen of the Damned. But it was Cruz that played Lestat in the interview, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't work for me at all.
I think we can all agree Lestat should never have been Tom Cruise. But
No.
you take that out of it, I can even tolerate him in that role because of how good the film is.
I loved everybody in the movie. Whether like I thought the movie was way better than the book, but when they made Queen of the Damned, I really liked the movie, but they kind of combined the Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned. I never read Queen of the Damned, but I loved the Vampire Lestat. I wish they had made a movie out of that book, but I can separate the two. But
No.
yeah, I'm a big
You have to
fan of
remember,
the.
when she wrote those books, she based Lestat on Rutger Hauer.
Did she?
Yes. And Rutger Hauer, for a time, was slated to play Lestat. And then he did
Well.
Buffy,
Granted, so was Cher.
right? Well, then he did
What?
Yeah.
Okay. He did Buffy, and when he did that joking vampire, and Rice directed people, they went, yeah, no, now he's never going to be as menacing as Lestat as he would have been without that.
Especially not with Pee Wee Herman as your lackey.
Yeah. Not to mention, by the time they actually got around to film it, he was technically too old to play Lestat.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that was her inspiration.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love those books, man. I wish they'd done it right with
I
Queen
skipped a
of the-
few. Yeah, oh yeah. I skipped a few because I did Interview with the Vampire and the Vampire Lestat. I only read part of Queen of the Damned. I never got around to the Vampire Armand. I read.
The Body Thief is good.
I didn't read that one. I read Blood something. It was the one about Marius,
Oh, yeah.
which was an awesome book. And I read Vittorio the Vampire, which I'm not sure he came in contact with anyone.
I don't think I read that one.
And
Yeah.
I think those are all the ones I read.
The Vampire Chronicles are amazing books, and it basically it's because of Claudia in that first one, because when they first wrote that book, you had a child as a vampire,
Yeah,
and Kirsten Dunst killed it.
she did.
I
She
will
was
admit, she
sick.
was enjoyable in that role. And the only other one that I really liked was, I think, Antonio Banderas.
Armand.
Oh, yes. You
Yeah,
asked-
those are the only ones that I liked. But still, the whole movie I just found it was too slow paced. And
My
Look-
favorite version of Sympathy for the Devil, Guns N' Roses.
yes, that was cool. That was a good rendition.
And Christian Slater, when he did that opening, that was a step-in role because it was River Phoenix, but he died. So Christian Slater pulled it off with that short notice.
Yeah,
And see, you have to realize the cultural significance of Interview with the Vampire, because how else could Depinder say, "I want more" in the cab to Deadpool?
I will
Right.
never not think of that moment.
Let's not think about that again very quickly. Yes. Glowin says, "Hey, fellas."
Howdy.
Hey,
He was on the post for the festival information, and he said he's from Juneau, Alaska. I had no idea.
oh wow,
Well, hello from Chatham, Kent, Ontario to you in Alaska.
A little bit of a drive.
No
Yeah.
doubt that's a commute. Let me see here. My number 8. I've only seen this movie a handful of times, and I want to find it so I can watch it more. One of the first movies I ever saw David Bowie in,
oh I've never seen this.
The Hunger.
That's Tony Scott's first movie.
Oh, it is so good.
See, I I never saw the movie. I remember they did an anthology series that would air on either Showcase or the Movie Network.
I used to
remember
have that.
that.
Yeah, I had two. I had both seasons of that, but apparently unrelated.
Mhm.
I was going to say, I've never seen the show. I couldn't tell you if it's related or not. And now,
It's not.
having said that, it placed 8th on my list. If I watched it now, I don't know if it would age well. I have not seen it since probably the early 90s.
Wow, I've not seen it anywhere.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I would love to get it to watch it again, but a part of me might not want to, just so it doesn't destroy. My father and I used to watch this film. Oh, okay, we saw it twice. It was called Gargoyles. We watched it on the old black and white Channel 62, antennas and all that, and we loved it. He and I, we ate English muffins with peanut butter melted, and it was amazing. And I saw it. I have an app. I think it's called Tubi.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
have that.
on there.
Is it?
It is on there.
Oh,
And
because I have a vague recollection of that movie, watching it on a Saturday afternoon.
I have not watched it. I see it on there, but it's like, no. I do not want that moment in my childhood destroyed. I did it with V, the TV miniseries.
Ooh.
I loved it. I went back and watched it and went, what was I smoking?
I know exactly what you're thinking. I remember V fondly.
Yeah.
But I did revisit it a little while ago, and yeah, it does not hold up.
Very young Robert Englund.
Yep, I should have waited. Oh, Michael says The Hunger is still great. So, okay, that's good. That means maybe I will check it out again.
Sure.
Okay, Jason, number 7.
Number 7 just got mentioned briefly. 1992 had a few vampire movies. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Really? Yay!
That movie, yes, it's cheesy and it's corny.
It's very fun.
But it's a fun vampire flick. Of course, it's what gave us the iconic TV show, which is great.
Sorry, I just had to put that up there. Apparently, it's on Blu-ray too. The Hunger.
I have that. Oh no, I have Buffy the Vampire Slayer on Blu-ray.
Okay, I got to get that Blu-ray. Michael,
Buffy also has one of the most comedic death scenes
because it's still going at the end of the movie.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman. I'm trying to remember his name.
Paul Rubens.
Thank you. Yeah.
I watched that movie a lot. I was a big Christy Swanson fan back in the day. And it just worked. I was leery about the TV show when they decided to do a TV show. I'm like, is this gonna work? Yeah. And they knocked it out of the park naturally.
Well, and that's good. They didn't take it in the comedic route.
When I initially watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like I saw the movie in the theater, and then the show comes out. I'm like watching them, like those aren't vampires. Click.
Bye, Buffy.
I didn't go back to it until the end of season 5, and then I was blown away.
And did you know they attempted to make an animated series of Buffy?
Really? I did not.
Yeah, actually, Mike found it. We talked about it the other day, and he showed it to me because they made a 4-minute teaser reel of an animated show. The art style is very similar to Batman, the animated series. It's from 2001.
I did have the. How far the show goes? It's 7 seasons. I did have the motion comic season 8 on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. They continued the show in comics afterwards, which is cool. But they tried to do an animated series, but nobody would buy it. They made this 4-minute reel. You can find it on YouTube. It's a 4-minute clip of the show. Almost everyone came back for their voices. I think the only one who didn't was Sarah Michelle Gellar. And it would have worked. Again, it was 2001, so nobody was willing to take a chance on an adult animated vampire show.
Not back then. No.
Adult Swim was just coming out, so it wasn't even really a full thing yet. So they couldn't find a home for it. But you know what? That would work. Somebody should try and pick that ball up and run with it now, because I think it could work.
All that stuff would absolutely. Firefly. I think they should bring that back too.
No, I don't think you can get that lightning back in the bottle. Honestly, as much as I want them to, I don't think they could.
I say you should try. James, number 7.
Number seven for me is an indie vampire movie from 2010, and it's called Stakeland.
Sounds familiar.
I've heard of it.
It's from Jim Mickle, who did Mulberry Street, Cold Day in July, We Are What We Are. But this was one where it was a global pandemic has infected. It's kind of like Daybreakers, where a global pandemic has infected like the majority of the population with vampirism. And you've got this one kid who meets up with this grown-up vampire hunter who's known as Mister, and they go after. They're hunting down vampires, and they end up coming across this cult called the Brotherhood, who believe like the vampires are like here to cleanse the world, like they're God's will or something, and they end up killing. Somehow beating they escape from the cult, and they capture the leader, and they tie him up, leave him for the vampires, and then they start encountering all these super smart vampires, and they're wondering where they're coming from and stuff. It's, for an indie movie, it's a very, very well done vampire movie.
Kelly McGillis is in it.
Kelly McGillis, yeah. And if you ever watched Gossip Girl, it's got like one of the younger brothers, Connor Paolo, and Nick D'Amici who plays Mister. He's more of a character actor. You may not recognize him from much. He co-wrote the sequel, which I have, but I haven't watched yet. But yeah, and one of the main bad guys is played by Michael Cerveris. Did either of you guys watch Fringe?
No.
No? You'd probably recognize him as, that guy, as you watch it, because he's almost always bald. If you end up looking it up, it's a well worth the effort. Stakeland.
I've heard of it.
Well, mine goes back towards Jason's. Mine's a comedy. Fairly recent one too. Taika Waititi. What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, the mockumentary.
Yes.
That's actually my number 5.
Oh, I still have to watch that.
I adore that film. I absolutely adore that film. And I watched it cold. It popped up on Netflix, and I saw what's his name?
Jermaine Clement.
Jermaine Clement. There. I
Flood
saw
of
his
Concords.
exactly. And it's like, okay, I got to check this out. And Mike's like, wow.
I hear great things about the series too. There's a series on FX.
I heard that too. Yeah,
they're in their 2nd season, I believe, and I think they announced that season 3, Mark Hamill is supposed to make an appearance.
Nice.
Yeah, I heard something about Mark Hamill being in that show.
I want to check out that show.
Every time I think of that movie, I hear the phrase, We're werewolves, not swearwolves.
Yep.
They did try. They were going to try and put together a sequel that was going to look at the werewolves, but they couldn't bring it together. I think at that point, because that really opened the door for Taika Waititi, and now he's all over the place. So
yeah. Okay, number 6.
Jason.
1996, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, that was on my list for so long.
That's just balls to the wall fun.
Yes.
And then when you hear like some of the stories of behind the scenes, and Tarantino directed one scene for $1 on a bet from Rodriguez and stuff like that.
Have you ever watched the making of called Full Tilt Boogie?
No, I never did.
It's pretty great. It's a lot of the fly on the wall stuff, and they try for I think it's like 2 hours long. They try for the entire. They get it the very last few minutes of the documentary. They get a small little clip. They're trying to get an interview with Harvey Keitel. He doesn't give an interview because he wasn't paid to do an interview, but he gives a small little snippet at the very end.
I love that film just because it doesn't start out as a vampire movie.
No. You honestly, I remember watching it for the first time and not knowing that it was going to be vampires.
That's it. Yeah, I watched it with George Clooney, Juliette Lewis, like just that.
Yeah, you just
And
thought it was like these two heist guys on the run kind of thing.
And
Fred
then-
Williamson, Quentin Tarantino, what's his
Tom
name?
Savini.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Sex Machine.
Tom Savini. Yeah,
He's just like, Sex Machine, how you do?
yeah, because we got to see that codpiece gun.
Yeah, from Desperado. Another great soundtrack.
And it takes that left turn that you are not expecting.
No
Yep.
kidding.
Cheech
And-
Marin playing 3 separate roles.
Yes.
Yep.
His
Danny Trejo
barker-
and everything.
Yeah, Danny Trejo, of course, but Cheech
Salma
Marin
Hayek.
as the barker, like trying to hype the place up.
Oh,
That
no.
whole bit
Oh, man.
where he just keeps saying "pussy, pussy, pussy" over and over again.
Oh, I actually have that as a soundbite for DJing,
Oh,
and
man.
I've played it a couple times. Believe it or not.
I've
James,
I've not watched any of the sequels though.
no, neither am I.
Second one, Texas Blood Money, is Danny Trejo shows up. Like I think it must be they go to the bar before Seth and Richie get there, because Danny Trejo's there, just alive and well, and so's the bar. It's okay, but they're at the bar for maybe 5 minutes and then they leave, so it really doesn't have a lot to do with it, except that they're the other guys. They robbed the place with Seth and Richie. They went off a different way.
Mhm.
And then you get the third one is the history of Santanico Pandemonium, how she became the vampire and the leader of that whole place.
That's the prequel one.
Hangman's
Okay.
daughter.
Yes, there we go. I
Yeah.
heard that was good.
It's better than Texas Blood Money, but they still don't measure up to the original.
Well, James, what's your number 6?
Okay, well, this one's brief because my number 6 has already been mentioned by, I believe, you, Rob, and it's Let the Right One In, the original Swedish version.
There we go. 2008.
It was just like the remake of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. The remake was coming out, and I'm like, they're going to wimp it down. It's not going to be as good. And over time, I've grown to love Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake more than the original. This one, it's still kind of, it still has an edge over Let Me In.
Yeah, I've already said all I can on that one. That's
I
such
know. I can't really add much except for what I already did add before.
Yep. My number 6, 1922. I think you could call it the OG of vampire movies.
Is this the Thomas Jane Stephen King one?
You do what? From 1922?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie called 1922 with starring Thomas Jane.
Is that a movie?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
Never heard of it.
Movie?
it's a Netflix movie.
Is there vampires in that?
I don't know
I don't
because
know
I
either.
haven't seen it.
I've seen the poster, but I've never watched it. Okay.
I've
No,
never even heard of it.
It's from 1922. No
All right. Oh,
Yes, with Max Schreck.
I saw
It-
the colorized remake, and
Oh,
But-
stop that.
I was a little kid, so I barely remember any of it.
You were a little kid in 1922. You've aged well, buddy.
I
I
said
think
the colorized
there's more-
remake.
Going on in this vampire topic than is, leading on here. Just saying.
Mhm. Yep.
No, you've got to watch it in the original black and white, but modernized because I have it with the soundtrack by Typo Negative.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
you did tell me that, yeah.
it fits so well. It just is crazy. You'd swear it was made for that film.
That guy is such a weird face.
Which guy?
The lead singer of Typo Negative.
Oh, I thought you meant Max Schreck.
He's got like huge eyes.
Maybe there's a little vampire stuff going on there too.
I don't know, but he's also got an insanely deep voice too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Number 5. We already know yours, Jason.
Yep. What We Do in the Shadows
What We Do in
from
the Shadows.
2014.
Oh, he did say that. Okay.
I love
Yep.
I love that whole the mockumentary
Oh man, some of those
genre.
are so good.
So What We Do in the Shadows is right in the wheelhouse of one of my favorite genres. So and my son bugged me over and over again to finally watch What We Do in the Shadows. So when I caved in, it's another one that I kicked myself that I didn't watch sooner.
but you watched it, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, James, you done getting a drink?
I'm in the process of getting the drink.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the original Blade with Wesley Snipes.
There we go.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, we can't do one of these lists without me fudging the rules somewhere. But the Blade trilogy does come up on my list.
Okay.
I put them all together.
See, I was going to put Blade 1 and 2 because for a long time, Blade 2 was my favorite of the trilogy, and it was my favorite comic book movie of all time. It hasn't aged as well as I would hoped it would, but the first one has remained solid. Steven Dorff is awesome. Udo Kier is awesome. Wesley Snipes is, and like I still love Luke Goss as Nomak in the second one, and Thomas Kretschmann as.
Wait a minute.
Well, he's like the Nosferatu looking guy in the movie, but the original is so good, especially with Tracy Lords in the blood rave scene at the beginning. Oh,
that opening, man, that sealed that movie for me.
It's so good.
It's my number 4, so it's coming up.
Yay!
So. But yeah, that opening scene alone sold me for that
and
film.
Chris Christopherson,
right?
Like pulling out the gas pump, lighting a cigarette right there, the gas all over the place, and like has the huge UV lamp he gives to him. He's like, it's still heavy. He's like, but you're so big.
Yep.
Awesome.
Have you ever seen the alternate ending?
Yeah, the blood it's a literal blood tornado and stuff.
Not just that though.
Steven Dorff's head pop out. Oh, are you talking about Morbius?
Yes, the Morbius appearance.
You see him way off in the distance, and it's supposed to be him. It's a little underwhelming, but it's like that would have been cool. But the blood tornado part was kind of dumb. It's like this big swirling red, and you see Steven Dorff's face pop out and back in. I'm like,
I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
No, but the Morbius thing would have been good.
Yeah, well, because to me, now I wasn't a huge fan of them, but I was familiar with them. I had some Spider-Man crossovers with them, but we were getting into the area of Marvel that was, I think it was called Midnight Suns, and it featured Blade, it featured Morbius, and Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So if they were going to include Morbius, we could have eventually gotten Ghost Rider, and that was exciting to me. And remember, this is long before MCU.
Are you talking about Marvel Knights?
No, they were called Midnight Suns, I think is what they were called.
Because they also did very briefly. Marvel, when they put out Blade, after they did the Blade movies, Marvel had, like, when Blade was still owned by New Line, Marvel did the Marvel Knights sub banner, and it was Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
No, Midnight Suns was an actual comic book.
Punisher Warzone.
It was a series.
Okay, you're talking about the comics. Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The Marvel Knights series only encompassed like 2 or 3 movies, and then they ditched it.
Well, my number 5, we've chatted about Interview with the Vampire.
Yay!
So we can skip that one. Jason.
Jason.
It's already been discussed, but I didn't say much on it. John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yeah.
You know, James Woods, he was such a badass.
Let me cut you off for half a second. There's much more crossover than I thought there would be. You were right to begin with, Jason. Sorry, continue.
Some of them, they are what they are, like they're good.
I just had to acknowledge he was right.
I just loved how badass James Woods was. It's probably my favorite role for him. And he's great in a ton of things, but that's one of my favorite roles for him. That and Digstown. So,
yes, that's what I was going to say.
But just everything, like all the tools, how they prepared to go in and clean out a nest. They put the chainmail on their necks and stuff. Like that stuff, just being that prepared, how they were agents of the church. And
those
all that.
huge spears they had.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, I didn't watch this until recently.
Oh, really? I saw it like at
months.
least twice in the theater.
Yeah, I was bad.
They did do a sequel, as I recall, that I think starred Bon Jovi.
2 sequels.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, the first sequel was starring Bon Jovi, and
Yeah.
it sucked. So if they did a third, I'm not interested.
It's called Vampires the Turning, and it takes place in Japan. It has almost no connection. They just did the Vampires: The Turning.
Okay.
But yeah, the Vampires. What is it called? Vampires.
Los Muertos.
Los Muertos. Yeah, and it shows basically. Jack Crow has died. That you see his grave, and like, the star of the first one. Oh, we can't get him back, so he's dead. Here's his grave, and we'll just continue on with other people.
Yeah,
that's and it was Bon Jovi.
I've seen Bon Jovi in several movies. He doesn't do a bad job, but it was just a bad concept.
Yeah, didn't like the sequel, but I love John Carpenter's Vampires. I got to revisit that movie. It's been a while, and I love the book. I think I might even own the book.
I used to. I lent it to a friend, and I never got it back.
Hate when that happens.
Yeah.
James, number 4.
Number 4. My number 4 is a remake to one that Jason already put on his list. This is Fright Night from 2011 with Colin Farrell.
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of people who do love that movie. I know a lot of people who really do like it.
I'm a big fan of Colin Farrell, but I'm also a big fan of Anton Yelchin, David Tennant, even though I haven't watched Doctor Who.
Wait a minute. Tennant's in that?
Yeah. He plays like a David Blaine-esque magician, illusionist kind of guy.
Well,
he is hilarious.
You've just sold that movie to me now.
McLovin's in it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay. You double sold that movie to me.
And Imogen
Tennant
Poots.
and McLovin?
Yeah. It is such a fun movie. And Chris Sarandon makes a cameo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a trifecta. I'm gonna put this on my list very soon.
It's a great movie. It's got a good soundtrack. Colin Farrell does a great job he plays the Chris Sarandon role.
Just because you're in Total Recall doesn't mean you have to fawn over everything Colin Farrell does.
I was hoping you would say that. I wasn't going to, but
I'll go there.
I can't deny it. I don't like absolutely everything he was in, but I just happen to be a big fan of the guy.
And that's cool because like Harrison Ford is my god. So if he's in a movie, I don't care how sucky it is, I'm gonna watch it. So I get you.
Yeah, I mean, like I brought the DVD in my backpack for
I've
Home
never
at the
been
End of
in
the
a
World.
Harrison Ford movie. I'm just gonna say that much. Okay. If I had, there would be no talking to me.
You've never been bumped into by Harrison Ford.
No, I have not even glanced at the man. So no, you're way ahead of me on that one, buddy.
Oh, we were looking at Colin Farrell, and all of a sudden he's turned to the side and he does a little. He just all of a sudden looks at us like, "Oh shit, look away,
look away, yeah. Don't look down."
Anyway, number 4, Fright Night, 2011.
And my number 4, we can skip over because it's Blade.
Yeah.
And like I said, just that opening, boom. That's all I got to say.
Sorry.
And do you realize when Tracy Lord start yelling at the bodyguard? Do you realize that's her boyfriend?
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing about that.
His name is something the third.
Right.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Something the third.
Apparently the first two didn't last. Number 3, Jason.
Well, we just mentioned it, but again, I clumped them all together, the Blade trilogy.
Yeah.
Because trying to pick a favorite of those 3 is near impossible for me. Although I want to give the edge because of Ryan Reynolds to Trinity. But I love all 3 of those films. Okay, and probably equally.
I think,
to be honest.
I love the first one, but I love the second one's premise where they have that new breed of vampire.
Oh yeah, the ones that hunt vampires.
The Predator,
which they call back to in Trinity.
Yes,
they call back to it in Trinity because the Pomeranian has that face.
And you gotta love Trinity because that's where Deadpool.
Yes.
Anyways, I can't get on there. I can't get it on the screen. John Enos III.
There we go.
Enos III. All right. I love all 3 Blade movies. It was actually Blade 2 that made me hate the movie Meet the Fockers.
Explain.
Yeah, I don't see the connection.
The Chatham Cinema 6, this is the Cinema 6,
Oh, did it get bumped?
had Blade 2. They got it on the Friday. I was going to go see it the following Wednesday. That was my day off. I was going to go see it. They bumped it out, friggin' Meet the Fockers. Or Meet the Parents, one of those two. They bumped it out after 4 days.
Are you kidding me? Wait, had it been there for a few weeks?
No, it was there
What?
for 4 days. It was there from, it opened on the Friday, and on the following Wednesday, they kicked it out for Meet the Parents or Meet the Fockers, one of those Ben Stiller.
That's not fair.
bullshit.
I saw that thing 3 times in the theaters within a few weeks, but that was London.
Well, the Cinema 6 had a lot of problems with not getting good films, so.
Yeah, and if you got them, they didn't keep them.
Right.
For I can understand because those things were just printing money, but in terms of quality, no, Blade 2, way up there.
James, number 3.
Number three. Oh man, my top 3 really didn't change. Top 3 or 4 didn't really change. It was my bottom 5 that did. Number 3, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
That one almost made my list.
I still, to this day, I think it's Benjamin Barnes, still think he did a better job as Abraham Lincoln than Daniel Day-Lewis did. This movie is awesome. I've never read the book. I'm a big fan of the movie Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I've got the book. This movie came out before it. It's just so much fun. It is so cool. Mm-hmm. Benjamin Walker. That's his name. Benjamin Walker. Dominic Cooper. The guy from Dark City. I can't remember his name.
That guy.
The guy with the hair.
Yeah. Directed by Timur Bekmambetov.
Rufus Sewell playing the main bad guy. Yeah. Timur Bekmambetov.
From A Knight's Tale.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and Anthony Mackie's in there too. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Martin Sokas, Jimmy Simpson.
That movie surprised me. I went and saw it in the theater, and
Rochelle,
it really did. Hey, Rochelle.
Hey.
What's your favorite vampire movie? That's what we're talking about. Go ahead, Jay.
I was surprised because, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, one of the very few times I was impressed with the 3D. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I'll agree. The 3D worked for that movie.
Yes.
It's one of the few movies where it worked for me. But I was so pleasantly surprised by that film. I was going into it expecting it to be just a craptacular, extravaganza, and I was really pleasantly surprised.
And they took it seriously.
Yes.
See, I was forced to go see it because I was on a date, and it's like, okay, let's go watch it. And I really liked it. I think it was because I went in cold. I didn't literally have a clue what was going on.
There you go.
So, well, my number 3, and it wouldn't be right to not have this on my list since she's one of my future wives, Underworld.
Oh, this was on my list for a long time. It was.
Yes. Why did it come off?
I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't quite make my list either. And
I told you, it's too much of a good thing.
It's the same reason. I can't really explain why it wasn't on my list. I have only ever seen the first one. I never saw any of the sequels. I got what I needed out of the first one, but it just doesn't hold me. It doesn't make me want to come back.
They're all great.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Bill Nighy. I love him as the elder.
Yeah.
And,
Victor.
Yes, Victor. And Scott Speedman as the hybrid. And I think that's why I liked it a lot too, because it was Vampire the Masquerade on the screen, done right.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't technically theirs.
And for a movie
that's big words, man. That's big words to me.
For a movie looks so great for one that wasn't a super high budget.
Yeah, exactly. There's that too.
Len Wiseman's directorial debut.
Rochelle says not big on vampire movies. However, okay,
we're in suspense.
now we're in suspense. We'll wait.
Okay.
Okay, we're not waiting. Let's keep going. But no, it is basically The Masquerade, because they even went to court after that, because it was so close.
Really?
The
I never heard that.
I heard about that.
They don't have that is the clans, the vampire clans. That's literally the only thing that's not in there. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to revisit it.
I think you do.
Maybe I need to give it some fresh eyes.
Yep. Let me see here. Number 2, Jason.
Number 2, which I'm going to assume is probably Rob's number 1.
Oh.
1987's Near Dark.
There we go.
Oh, that did not make my list.
What?
I had a great time doing the view and review. Don't poke me.
Oops. Technical difficulties.
Near Dark it has to be considered a top vampire film. All the vampires in it act like a vampire should, or you would expect them to act. Like, they all have their slight little quirks, but they've given into the beast that is the vampire, the beast side of the vampire. Just do whatever the hell they want. And what's not to love about that?
It is a great 80s vamp. It is 80s, right? 87, you said?
1987 came out the same year as Lost Boys.
Yep.
Yeah. Not nearly as good as Lost Boys, in my opinion, but
that's why it was overshadowed, is because Lost Boys was the popcorn glitzy vampire movie.
It also has the far superior soundtrack.
I can't argue that logic. I can't.
Okay.
Although, just the song "Fever" during the bar scene. Oh my God! Finger licking good.
See, and it's Paxton really almost pretty much steals that movie.
And Lance Henriksen.
Yes,
Lance Henriksen's great. They're all great, but Paxton.
Keep odd hours.
Paxton is just so good.
I don't have the shades to make it work, but
here we go.
Rochelle. Had to find the name.
Daybreaker.
Yeah.
Yes, that was on my list too. Ethan Hawke kills it in that one.
I'm gonna have a few vampire movies I'm gonna have to watch now.
I think so. James.
Speaking of which, Rochelle just named it. My number 2 is Daybreakers.
There we go.
we gushed over that one enough.
Let me see here. Drives me crazy when I can't remember a movie name, but yeah, Daybreakers. Oh, it does the same for me. I will sit there and go, "What was I thinking? What was I thinking?"
I loved Willem Dafoe so much in that movie, especially when he's like names Elvis and he starts singing Elvis song.
There is
it's so good, especially Sam Neill. He's like, "Don't you want a cure?" He just leans right in and he's like, "What's to cure?"
I came in late. Oopsies. No, you came in just at the right time because we're ready.
Yeah, you had great time, Rochelle.
Yeah, like I said, James is number 2. Oh, you love him in everything. Which him? Was it Willem Dafoe or Ethan Hawke?
I'm gonna guess both. I guess.
There we go.
She just said yes.
Well, my next 2, unfortunately, have been talked about. Number 2 is Lost Boys, and number 1 is Near Dark. So,
oh yeah, Jason predicted that one.
Yes, he did. He knows me for that.
You've gushed enough.
Yep.
Now,
there it is. Yep. Both really.
Yep. See.
So, my number one has been talked about, but let's throw some honorable mentions if you don't mind.
Oh yes. Sorry.
So, and we don't have to get too deep into them. So, I have 3 things to mention. First off, the Monster Squad.
Nice.
Because it's got your traditional Universal monsters, including Dracula.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it has to make this list. And Monster Squad, that's the Universal Monsters version of Goonies.
Yep.
And I have not watched it in a very long time. I do own the Blu-ray, but I have not watched it in a long time. I don't know if it quite holds up. I'm afraid to watch it.
Got nards.
Iconic.
Have you guys seen the documentary?
Yeah.
No.
It came out, was it last year or the year before?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was at the Exploitation Film Festival in Hamilton.
I saw the
But-
documentary that was on the special edition DVD.
But that's what it's called. Wolfman's Got Nards.
I saw they talked about
Really?
I can't remember his name, but they talked about because the guy who played Fat Kid died years ago.
Yes. I knew that. Okay, now I have a documentary I gotta find.
Yep.
Willem
Willem
Dafoe.
first.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Another honorable mention, coming off of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, Timur Bekmambetov's Night Watch.
Night Watch, nice.
Yeah.
I've read those books. Those books are phenomenal. The movies, they're not quite as good as the books. It's hard to transition, I know, but those movies, the Night Watch and Day Watch, they are insane fun. They bridge. You got vampires, you got shape changers, you've got wizards and stuff. It's a great blend of all the supernatural.
Awesome
all
special
happening.
effects too.
Yes, great special effects. It really gives a neat perspective. I've tried to actually develop a Night Watch theme to a white werewolf game or a vampire game years ago. That's something I've toyed with, and I might try to do again for a group at some point.
That's cool.
And my last honorable mention is the TV show Kindred the Embraced. That's how you do White Wolf, Rob.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The whole freaking show opens with vampires running across the roof during the day. That's how it opens, and it doesn't get better.
It did get better. It was a great show, cut down in its prime. The network canceled it too soon, and then the lead actor died just as it was about to get picked up by another network.
Canceled for a reason.
No, they had so much potential.
Okay, I will not deny they had potential. They just never used it.
But how many shows the first season is just out of the park? Most shows struggle a little bit in the first
that's
season.
not one.
No, yes, it was. You are wrong. You are far in the minority.
Dude, I have it. I own it. And it's
So do
only
I.
because it's Masquerade. That's the only reason I own it. They didn't use Torador. They didn't. Okay. Look at even Rochelle said, "Where is it? Oh, come on. Oh, amateur. That's what you should have been. Oh, come on. During the day, right? Vampires during the day. Do you know why they did it? Because they didn't want the production costs of filming at night. And that's also why they didn't have Torador, not Torador, Tremere and Malkavian.
They would have gotten to them. They
didn't know how to write. I saw an interview with the showrunner. They didn't know how to write Malkavian, and they didn't have the budget to do blood magic for the Tremere.
They would have gotten to it. I'm confident. Look, I'm holding on to hope that someday they'll try and bring it back. But damn it, I love that show. That was White Wolf. Damn it.
I hope they bring it back properly. That's what I hope. Some of the actors were great. Like, don't get me wrong. Jeff Kober, I loved his Nosferatu character.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Daedalus.
Jeff Kober's great in everything.
And Mark Frankel as the Prince Julian, he was phenomenal. He was a standout in that show. His passing was tragic.
I will say that without a doubt. There were characters in there that were amazing. It's just the way the production went that they destroyed the franchise to me.
No, they could have. It could have worked. They could have. The first season of most shows is a little troubling. They could have easily smoothed that out, and it could have really taken off.
Movie during the day. You do not start vampires during the day.
It would have fixed it.
They would have fixed it.
I had faith.
It showed. It was on TV. And then the one gets stabbed with an antenna. I still remember it so vividly. C. Thomas Howell's in it. I remember.
He was the weakest one of that whole cast.
Yeah.
Bite your tongue.
I like
Thomas Howell's awesome.
But he was
playing the typical,
I'm kidding.
renegade cop.
I never watched the show. I'm kidding. I do. I'm a big fan of his, but I never watched the show.
I'll loan you the discs. You can be the tiebreaker. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's those are my honorable mentions.
What's your number one? Did you already say?
Well, it's come up many times. Lost Boys.
Oh,
there we go.
I knew it was somebody's number one.
Yes, Lost Boys is my number one. It was a struggle but when I think vampire movies. What's Lost Boys? It's just that's the first one that comes to mind, so it has to be my number one.
Interesting.
Yeah. It is iconic. That's why it was my number 2.
And it
it's only
still
because
works.
It can't beat Near Dark to me.
But Lost Boys still works. It's slightly dated, but that's just part of it, the charm of it. It still works on every level.
Oh.
Okay. James.
Okay, I only have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay. Which ones can we yell?
One of them is Jim Jarmusch's Only Lovers Left Alive.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's Tom Hiddleston, Tilda Swinton, Anton Yelkin, and I think Saoirse Ronan. They never mention, and John Hurt. They never mention the word vampire, but you know that they are vampires. It's very like. It's a drama. It's not action packed. It's very well acted. It's a beautifully shot movie. They just happen to have vampires in it. It was just, it just narrowly missed the list just because they could be anything. They just happen to be vampires.
Okay.
But in terms of Jim Jarmusch's movies, it's way up there in terms of quality.
So better than The Dead Don't Die?
Yes. Dead Don't Die is a fun movie. But I'd say it's a fun movie. Fun.
Oh, thanks for popping in, Rochelle. She's got to take the pig out.
What does that mean?
Gunther's got to go for a walk.
Oh, right. She has a pet pig. Sorry. I forgot.
He thought it was closed or something.
Yeah, he did. But in most cases, it would be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
It
true.
does sound like code.
To just get back to it, like a lot of Jim Jarmusch's movies are very artsy looking. They're very good movies to look at. And Only Lovers Left Alive is another one like that. My other honorable mention is Dr. Sleep, which was the sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
And you got Rebecca Ferguson. The antagonists in the movie are technically vampires, but they're sort of like a psychic vampire. They like suck up the energy from someone who's dying or whatever. So the only because I think the movie's amazing. The only reason I cut it off is because I was going more for the literal vampires, the like blood-sucking ones.
I got to be honest. I'm the same way. That's why Cocoon didn't make it on my list, but it was there.
Cocoon?
Yeah. Those aliens were life force suckers.
No, the people were.
There's also
The old people were.
There's also that classic 80s horror movie called Life Force.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Space vampires.
Space vampires, yeah.
So sorry. I don't think Cocoon is then. I think that's the one I was thinking of because they came out around the same time.
Yeah. I think
Cocoon kind of has it in a reverse effect where the old people steal the life essence from the cocoons.
That's it.
So you can kind of, but again, those aren't real vampires.
All right,
So
my number one. I'm very surprised, a little disappointed, very surprised that nobody has mentioned it yet. There was no question that this was my number one. It was my number one. I never had to think about it twice.
I'm getting ready.
I'm hovering over the button too.
30 Days of Night.
Oh, okay. You're okay. Okay.
Crap! I forgot about that film.
I've never actually watched it.
But
I've
based
heard
on the
nothing but
graphic
good things,
novel,
but I've never watched it.
David Slade's.
Crap.
I think it was his directorial debut. That or Hard Candy, I think. Josh Hartnett.
Melissa George.
Danny Houston, Melissa George, yeah.
Holy
Another
crap, Danny Houston.
Mark Boone Jr. This movie is hardcore. It is awesome.
That's what I've heard.
Oh man, it is so intense. The sequel is okay. It's pretty good for a follow-up. They made it. It's 30 Days of Night, Dark Days. It's another one that has Mia Kirshner in it. But it's a pretty good follow-up. But yeah, the original 30 Days of Night, I never read the graphic novel, but the movie is awesome. Takes place up in Alaska where they go through 30 Days of Night.
Mm-hmm.
And this big freighter shows up and these vampires basically descend on the town and they have free reign.
They send Ben Foster first.
Ben Foster. Oh, standout of the movie, Ben Foster.
Oh, yeah. He plays the stranger.
I've never watched that movie, but I've heard.
Talk to dead man. He's so awesome in that movie.
Jake,
I
give it
need
a
to watch
good
that
on
movie.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kicking myself now because I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm just like, why has nobody mentioned 30 Days of Night yet?
Danny Houston is amazing. I love how those vampires have their own language.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And it's just very, very, very guttural vampire, guttural vampire language. Even some of them, they digitally altered their face. There's some of the guys, you see the actors, and they made some of their faces misshapen for when they're walking around constantly with the whole fangs out and stuff. So good.
yeah, I'm so kicking myself right now. That's
That should have been on your list.
oh huge. That would have been like 4 or 5.
That's what I'm here for.
Son of a gun. Here, 1 second. Share screen. Do this, and share.
Oh, yeah.
We need you at the station.
Copy that.
Board the windows. Try to hide. They're coming.
They? Who are they?
I saw the teaser. So many vampires here.
Vampires don't exist, Jake.
That cold ain't the weather. That's death approaching.
They're tearing through everyone's home.
We can last a month.
There we go.
So good.
Yeah,
I think this is my favorite top 10 list that we've done so far.
I think so. Like I said, I'm still going to kick myself for 30 days a night. Dang it.
That's another one I'm going to have to watch soon.
Yeah. That's what I've been
Yes.
doing, though. I've been taking our lists, and I go through and find stuff that I haven't seen, and I'll watch it if I have time now. I love these lists, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Top 10 vampire movies. And do you know what? Why don't we end it the same way we started it?
Out, they shut up! It's a man!